So today we're going to be doing a 30-minute gentle flow for the whole body. Let's begin in a seated position today to start with an energizing alternate nostril breathing exercise. Okay, so just any comfortable seat. You can sit just on your mat cross-legged, or you might like to bring a cushion or your bolster or a pillow underneath your hips. Starting to lengthen through the side body, roll the shoulders back and down a couple of times, and you can tip your head side to side. Okay, and with this alternate nostril breathing, we're using the thumb of the right hand and ring finger of the right hand to open and close off the left and right nostrils. Using your thumb first to seal off your right nostril. Breathe in through the left for 4, 3, 2, 1. Then use the ring finger to seal off the left. Exhale right for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale right for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale left for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale left for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale right for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale right for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale left for 4, 3, 2, 1. So go ahead and just do 5 more rounds like this. Try to maintain this rhythm of breath, or even slow it down even more. Starting to balance out the left and right sides of the brain, the energy channels along the spine. Clearing out the sinuses. And then once you have completed those 5 rounds, you can bring your hand back to your knee and breathe in and out through both nostrils together, trying to count to the full counts. One more breath like that, breathing in, breathing out. And now slowly begin to blink your eyes open. Dip your chin towards your chest. You can just keep your gaze soft here. Begin to draw little semicircles to the top of your head, letting your head sway side to side. Stretching into the back of your neck. You can tip the head all the way over to one side, stretching into the side of your neck. And let your head tip over to the other side. Noticing any tension that's built up over the night here in your neck. Sometimes just sleeping in a different position, or even with the cold weather, we can wake up with a stiff neck. from long periods of sitting at your desk with your head down or head looking straight forward. Okay, and then coming back to center. You can roll the shoulders back and down. Let's interlace those fingers behind us. Press your palms and squeeze the shoulder blades together. Start to pull your hands down towards your mat. So down towards the tailbone, maybe even down, pressing down into the mat, like you're trying to lift the chest up towards the ceiling. Lift your chin and look up. As you breathe in, feel your belly, feel your ribs, and feel your chest fill up. And as you breathe out, feel the chest, the ribs, and the belly soften. Just taking 2 deep breaths here. Filling up into that front body. And then slowly you can release and give those arms a bit of a shake. Okay, and then we're going to make it to all fours, so you can move any props out of the way. Roll over to one side or over your knees. And just coming up now to your tabletop with the fingers spread. Let's take a few moments to shake out those hips left, right. And begin to draw little circles with the hips. Just small circles. Draw them with the shoulders as well as we start to open into the wrists, into the shoulders. And then just going in the opposite direction with the small circles. Okay, and then now focusing on the hips, let's draw a little figure of 8s here. You can just start again small with the movements, trying to draw a little 8 shape here with the hips, working into the clicks and cracks of the joints, bringing some movement, some blood flow into the hips. And then going in the opposite direction with this figure of 8s. Sometimes it takes a little bit of thinking to find that direction. And again, just feeling into any clicks or cracks, any sticky spots. And then coming back to center, we'll find our cat-cows here. Inhale to lift your tailbone up, open across your chest, lift your chin, looking forward or looking up. Exhale to tuck your tailbone under, rounding into your back, pressing away from the hands, chin to the chest. 5 rounds. Inhale to lift the tailbone, open across your chest, lift your chin. Exhale to tuck the tailbone, rounding into your back, pressing into the hands. 4 rounds. Moving in time with the breath and focusing on lengthening the spine, creating space between each vertebra of the spine. And still taking those deep breaths to create more space in your lungs as well. And then slowly you can make your way back to center once you have completed those 6 rounds in total. Let's bring the knees a little bit wider here and just tuck your toes under. Sit your hips back towards your heels. So it's kind of like you're coming into a child's pose, but we're keeping the toes tucked under. So as we sit the hips down, we can start to stretch into the toes, into the soles of the feet. Also starting to feel that stretch into the hips. And then we're going to walk the hands forward. And you'll start to feel that stretch across your back and along the arms and the shoulders. You can just stay here, maybe resting your head to the mat. Otherwise, we're going to add a side stretch here. So walk your hands over towards your right side. Keep your hips low, hips towards the heels. Keep stretching your arms over to the right until you feel a stretch along the left side body. Relax your head and your neck. And try to breathe into the rib cage as you inhale and exhale. And then walk your hands back over to center towards your left side. Keep going until you feel that stretch along the right side of your body. And breathing into the ribs, into the side wings. You can slowly now start to come back to center, and we'll come to our downward facing dog. Hands to the top of the mat, keep your toes tucked under, lift your knees and then lift your hips back and up. Just adjust your feet so your feet are about hip width apart. And let's focus on really bent knees, lifting your hips, pressing the chest back. Try to have this really nice long spine. Stretching along the arms, stretching across your back. And you'll start to feel that stretch into the backs of your legs there as well. So you can just keep your knees bent, keep those heels lifted if the stretch is feeling too strong here. Otherwise, you can now start to make some movement into the hips. Side to side movements of the hips, stretching into the waist, starting to pedal out your feet, stretching into the heels and Achilles and your calves. Stretching into your hamstrings. And then slowly you can bend your knees and look forward to the top of the mat. When you exhale, walk your feet forward. Just being really slow and gentle with your steps, letting your heels touch down with each step forward, coming to the top of your mat in a forward fold. Knees bent. Let your arms just dangle forward. You could grab opposite elbows and the whole upper body can just hang forward and sway side to side. Try to relax your neck and look back between your knees. Okay, and then you can slowly release opposite elbows. Press down into your feet. Bring your fingertips to your shins. A nice long spine. Chest is reaching forward. Exhale to fold forward, hanging forward, chin to the chest. 2 more, inhale, halfway lift. Flat back, long spine. And exhale to fold forward, bending the knees as much as you need, chin to the chest. Last time, inhale, halfway lift, pressing into the feet. 90-degree angle here, chest reaches forward, tailbone lengthens back. Exhale to fold forward. Plant into your hands. Step or hop your feet back to your plank. An option to skip this, just go straight to your down dog, or to drop your knees down. Otherwise, moving through your chaturanga, elbows in, chest and belly lowering down. Inhale into your baby cobra. If you're ready, you can come into your cobra. Let's hold here for 3 big breaths today. Make sure you're sinking those hips, drawing the shoulders back and down, opening across your chest. Full breath into the lower back and the belly, into your upper back and the chest. Full breath out. 1 more breath here. And then slowly inhale here. Exhale to push away from the mat with your hands. Tuck those toes, lift your hips back and up. Downward facing dog. 3 breaths. You can continue to pedal out your feet. Pressing the heels or straightening your legs one at a time. And then on the next inhale, we're going to lift the right leg up. Try to keep your left heel pressing down on your exhale. Feel that deeper stretch into your calf and your hamstrings. And then we're going to lift the right leg a little higher. Bend into your top knee, pulling your heel towards your bike. Feel that stretch into the right hip flexors, into your quad. Inhale to straighten your right leg again. And when we exhale, we're going to step the right foot forward to the outside of your hand. So just take as many steps as you need to get that foot through or forward. And then lower it down. You can shuffle it, wiggle it. Okay, and then you can here now come up onto your fingertips. If coming up onto fingertips is too strong for your hips, you can grab a block or use something else underneath your hands. We're trying to lift across the chest, open there, lengthen through the lower back. And when you exhale, sit your hips down a little bit lower, finding this lizard lunge. Stretching into the inside of your right hip and your thigh, into your left hip flexors. 2 breaths. Okay, and then now, again, keep your left hand down on the mat underneath your shoulder. Let's bring the right arm up, look up towards your right hand, and draw the top shoulder back when you exhale, finding a twist here into your lower back. Now, if the stretch in your hips is too strong, lift your hips a little bit here. Just focus on the twists in that lower back. Opening across the chest, into your right arm and shoulder, into the lower back and the spine. And if you've got a bit more range, you can sit the hips down lower when you exhale. Stay here for the inhale. And then exhale, you can bring your right hand down to the inside of that right foot. Now, let's lift the hips. Okay, so if you need a bit of extra padding underneath that back knee, you can roll up your mat. You could use a towel underneath the knee. We're just going to bring the hips back until they're over your back knee, like a half split. Try to keep this front foot flexed, really pulling the toes back. And you can bend your knee here if your hamstrings are feeling tight. You can do a little kind of side to side movement here with your hips even, and just notice how that change in the movement of your hips can affect how deep the stretch feels in your hamstrings. So ideally we want to keep the hips level rather than having this right hip yanking forward. Pull it back, leveling the hips. And as you inhale, chest is reaching forward, lengthening across your spine while you're trying to pull your tailbone back. As you exhale, you might find you've got a little bit more space now to soften further forward. And now let's come back to center. Come back into that lizard lunge. This time, just roll to the outside edge of your right foot and let your knee drop away to the side. I'm just going to stay here, either on the palms or the fists. Or this time you might find you can come a little further down onto your elbows as we're warmed up a little bit more into those hips. As you open this leg out to the side, you're going to feel that deeper stretch into your inside thigh, but also into the outside of the right thigh, into your glutes. Just breathing with the stretch. Trying to inhale here. And then exhale to drop the knee a little further away. Acknowledging that maybe you can't go as deep as you usually can, especially if you've had a particularly long day or you're feeling particularly stiff this morning. And then coming back to center, just shuffle your right foot back. You can come to a child's pose for a moment with the knees together and arms can come out in front, just giving your hips a bit of a shake. And then we'll come to that second side whenever you feel ready. Fingers spread, tucking the toes, lifting the hips back in. And this time, we're lifting the left foot up on the inhale, pressing that right heel down on the exhale, stretching into the right hamstrings. Stack your left hip, bend into the top leg on the exhale. Breathing here, full breath, opening into the left hip flexors. And then stay for the inhale, lifting the left leg back up. Exhale, bring your left foot forward to the outside of your hip. Lizard lunge. You can lower the back knee down. Keep the foot flat here first. And again, stay here on your palms or your fingertips or even fists. Try to lift through the chest, lengthen into the lower back. Exhale back so you can sit the hips a little further. If it's too strong, just keep your hips up. Focus on trying to relax the hips down with each exhale. One more breath here. Feeling into the stretch into those hip flexors, inside thighs, groins. And then we'll keep the right hand down underneath the shoulder. Lift your left arm up on the inhale. Exhale, draw the left shoulder back. Remember, you can lift the hips a little bit here to focus on the twist first. And then perhaps you can sit the hips a little lower. Keep rolling the shoulder back, twisting into the spine. One full breath. Stay for the inhale. And then exhale to come back to center. And now our half split. Remember, you can roll up the mats or use your towel underneath the knee. You can keep the front knee bent, but we want to flex the foot. Just reaching forward, long spine. Try not to round your back. Keeping the chest open, keeping the spine flat. And then you might have more space to fold further forward over your leg or just straighten your left leg a little more. You can experiment with kind of shifting the hips side to side, feeling the difference in the stretch there in the hamstrings and the hips. And then settling with your hips squared, gently pulling the left hip back. 2 breaths. And then slowly coming back to the lizard lunge. And this time we roll into the outside edge of the foot. Let that knee drop away to the side. Getting that deeper stretch there into the inside thigh, into those glutes, the outside of the thigh. Deeper stretch still into your hip flexors as you sit the hips low. You can stay here. You could come to the elbows if that's accessible. Two breaths. And then slowly you can start to make your way back. And again, just step your left foot back into your kneeling pose, the child's pose, knees together. Arms can come out in front or beside your legs, taking little rocks side to side to release your hips. Okay, so now let's sit all the way back up. Stay in this kneeling position here. Remember, if kneeling is not comfortable for you, you've got an option to find a different seated position, or to just grab your block or your bolster, place it between your feet to sit on it like you're straddling it, or you could sit with the bolster underneath your hips. Okay, otherwise just staying here with your knees together. Okay, so from here, we're going to work on opening a little more into the chest. Let's inhale to lift those arms up overhead. Try to lengthen through the side body. As we exhale, we're going to find a cactus arms. So bring your elbows to 90 degrees. Draw your shoulder blades together, like you're squeezing them together. Elbows pulling back behind you. Lift your chin, lift your gaze. Let's make sure that we're still engaging through the core so we don't just dump into the lower back. So it's kind of like you're trying to pull your belly button towards your spine. Try to lift through that lower belly. Lift the chest like there's a piece of string pulling it up. Holding one full breath here. Trying to open across the chest. And then we're going to flow between us 3 times. Inhale to lift the arms back up overhead. Lengthen through the sideways, reaching up, sitting tall. Exhale, elbows squeeze together behind your back. Shoulder blades squeezing, lifting your chest, lifting your gaze. Inhale, arms up. Long sideways. Exhale, cactus arms. Shoulder blades squeezing, elbows back, gaze up. Last time, inhale. And exhale. Good, and then inhale, coming all the way back up. Exhale to release, give those arms a bit of a shake. So probably feeling a little bit warmer now in your arms and your shoulders, in that upper back, thoracic spine. This final movement, we're going to focus on a little back bend into the lower back. So we're going to sit up into a kneeling position. As usual, make sure you roll up your mat or use a towel underneath your knees if you need. You can have your toes tucked under or untucked. Today we're coming into a camel pose, but we're just going to keep the hands to our lower back. Okay, so you want to bring your hands to the lower back with your fingers facing forward or facing up, trying to press the whole palm of the hand into your lower back. Before we come down any further, let's make sure we're engaged through all those supporting muscles. So you're gently squeezing your inside thighs together, engaging through those glutes, like you're trying to push your pubic bone forward, yet finding that tilt of the hips. Engage through the front of the hips, so you're pulling up, zipping up through the front of the belly, into the lower belly. And then with your elbows, like you're trying to clip them together behind your back, begin to use your hands to push the hips forward. Okay, so still moving with the breath. Inhale to open, expand into the belly and the chest. Exhale to use your hands to push your hips a little further forward. You can keep that chin to the chest. Inhale. And exhale. We're still just going to keep the hands to the lower back today so that we can continue to support the lower back. If your head is okay though, you can drop your head back. Just making sure you're not feeling any pain in your neck, any pulling. One more breath. And then to come out of the pose, make sure you're pushing your chest forward. Keep your hands to the lower back to support it. Just keep pushing the chest forward, especially if you've dropped your head back. And then eventually we'll come all the way back to this seated kneeling position. And you can stay here for a moment, rolling out your wrists. Give your hips a bit of a shake. Just taking a bit of time to let your back settle into a neutral position again. And then you can come into your child's pose one last time. Knees together, arms beside your legs, or even grabbing opposite elbows or just opposite wrists. Letting your back round, letting the shoulders, the elbows round forward. And just taking little rocks here to massage your third eye, to release your hips. And then slowly coming all the way back up. Let's finish with a big breath together. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And a long sigh. Blink your eyes open when you're ready to get on with the rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me again today for this gentle flow. So if you would like to join me for some more full-length classes, I do have another class tonight at 6:30 and tomorrow morning at 9:30. Otherwise, for now, this will be our last morning YouTube live. If lockdown is extended, touch wood, there will be a new timetable coming up next week, but I will keep you posted. Enjoy the rest of your day.